Raj, I got your doubt. This is your answer.
Vedantu. Learn live online. To attend a free live class, download the app now.
Hey students, namaste and good afternoon once again, and welcome back to yet another amazing session of our class 10 ICSE revision series. So what is happening now? Yes, all of you must be aware that we have started doing one shot series, right? We have launched the one shot series. One chapter was done yesterday. Today we are going to be doing the second chapter, which is part of your class 10 ICSE biology, which is genetics. And introducing myself again, my name is Ambika. I'm master teacher of biology at Vedantu. Hi Hussein, hi Jai, Bhavita. Good afternoon Bhavita. Hi Rishika, Priya, Vinod, and everyone who has joined me today. I think I can see more familiar names today. Yesterday, many names that I saw in the chats were actually new to me. Today, anyway, I'm glad that many of my usual students are also there. So stay with me till the end, children, because this will definitely benefit you. We are going to be covering the entire chapter. In a sense, we are going to be revising the entire chapter of genetics in this one full session. Yes, Anandita? Okay. Yes, Bhavita, I do. As I said yesterday, I am quite good in remembering names. So, yes, we will have a quiz also, Ravi. So stay with me. That's why I was saying, stay with me in the second half, just like yesterday's session. The first, a little more than the first half, probably like 65-70% of the session will be a quick summary, a quick recap of all the major concepts across this chapter. And at the end, let's see who is going to be performing well in the quiz. Okay. So Himanshu, this chapter is also part of CBSE, but then ICSE has it a lot more in detail. In CBSE, it's heredity and evolution, but then the basic Mendelian principles all remain the same. So this will also benefit you. Okay. Okay. So let's get started. As always, I love starting with positive quotes. So here it is. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. This is especially for those of you who are like lost, who feel completely lost now because it's study holidays and you do not know, you are not confident about your preparations. Am I going on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Or I've not done anything until now. I've been getting a lot of emails from many of you children in the last 3-4 days saying that you do not know where to get started. ICSE class 10 students are those who have been sending me emails most. So for those of you, do not worry. Just what you have to do is use the available time that you have right now. You have about 2 more weeks remaining for your board exams to start. It's not the time to sit and waste time by panicking. Okay. Yes, Menti quiz will also be conducted, Jay, but not in today's session. You can expect it very soon, probably in the next, hopefully in the next week, we can have a Menti quiz. Okay. Yes. All right. And one more thing that I want to say, one interesting thing for all of you. I know you are all lost in your exam preparations, but anyway, we do need a little bit of relaxations, right? So Vedantu here has an opportunity for you. Take a very short break. All of you must have watched our ad, right? The Vedantu ad. So download the Vedantu tune using this link and then record your version, your Maza version of the song, the jingle, the ad that you see there, and fill and upload your video in this form. The link will also be provided in the description box below, and you have an amazing chance to win goodies worth rupees 25,000. Okay, lucky ones will have this opportunity to be among the winners. Okay, yes, something very interesting that I thought. You just need to sing the jingle and upload your version of it. Yes, samajh aayega to maza aayega. Definitely. Okay. All right. And as you know, children, this is what represents the gist of the chapter, which is genetics. The Simpsons family is something that I like using as an analogy whenever I teach genetics, because you can easily see a lot of resemblance between parents and children, right? Yes, so that is what it is. Genetics is basically the study of inheritance. Now, one more thing, children. Yes, in this session, I will not be going into minute details of the chapter, because as such, genetics is a very deep and vast chapter. Those of you who do not have your concepts clear in your mind, please do go back to our ICSE biology playlist. There have been 4 or 5 sessions across which we had divided this chapter. It was done about 3-4 months ago. Please do go back and watch it. You will certainly get it right. Okay. Yes. So there we go. The most important thing that you must know in this chapter are all the terminology, right? All right. So the first term that you must know is gene. What is gene? As you can see, gene is a segment of DNA. But how do you define it? It is the basic unit of inheritance located on a chromosome. Okay. Yes, Spectra. Hi, Anjali. Hi, Nikita. Okay. So stay alert, children. Pay attention because all these terms are very, very important. They can be very confusing also. So let's try to finish off our revision for this chapter very, very quickly in the next half an hour. Okay, so stay with me. And the next term is gene, which is very closely related to allele, which is basically different alternative forms of a gene. As you can see here, this is a pair of homologous chromosomes, and each member of a homologous pair of chromosomes would have alleles for a particular gene. At the same position on the members of a homologous pair of chromosomes, you would find different or similar versions of a particular gene, which we call alleles. Okay. Yes, the next 2 terms, phenotype and genotype. By now you must be familiar with these terms. Phenotype is basically the physical or external appearance of an organism, and genotype is what refers to the genetic makeup, the genetic constitution of an organism. For instance, as you can see here, brown color, brown skin color, brown fur coat, rather, in this case, in this mouse, is the phenotype. And what you see here is its genotype. It could be represented by capital B or something like that. That depends on the question given to you, or you can have your own if you just want to have an alphabet in your mind for the gene. Okay, but yes, this is basically representing the genotype for the particular phenotype. What is here is underlying at the cellular level. What you see outside is what is phenotype. Okay, all right. So how do you, those of you who get confused between these terms, genotype, gene is giving you the hint, genetic constitution. Phenotype, the PH, the first 2 letters should give you an idea. It is the physical expression. Okay. All right. And the next one, monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. Okay. There are more, but then monohybrid and dihybrid are what we learn at the 10th standard level. Yes. Exactly, Tina. Phenotype is the set of observable characters. Yes. So monohybrid cross is basically the cross in which a single pair of contrasting characters is studied at a time. For instance, flower color is one of the traits, one of the characters that Mendel chose during his studies in the pea plant. It can either be purple in color or they can be white in color, or different in the case of different flowers or different plants. Okay. And then we also have a dihybrid cross, which refers to those experiments in which 2 characters are studied simultaneously. Dihybrid. Mono stands for 1 and di stands for 2. Okay, so dihybrid cross, an example is, again coming back to Mendel's experiments, Mendel chose seed color and seed shape to study together. Okay, seed color, it can be either yellow or green. Seed shape, it can be either round or wrinkled. He studied the inheritance of both of these characters together in his set of dihybrid experiments. Okay, yes, exactly. And coming to homozygous and heterozygous. Okay, not to confuse with homologous, that is completely different. Okay, homozygous and heterozygous. Homozygous is the condition wherein in the genotype, you have both the alleles which are similar. Like in this case, you have a capital B and a capital B. Or it can be a small b also. That is also an example for a homozygous condition, small b or capital B. Whereas when it is heterozygous, it means hetero is different, homo is similar or uniform. So you have one capital allele and one small allele or one dominant allele and one recessive allele. Okay. Yes. Moving on, what else do we need to know? Variations. Yes, variations are the differences in characters among the individuals of a species. All of us, although we are all human beings, we look so different from each other, right? It's all genetically inherited. And overall, when you look at the human population, you would see so many variations of the same characters. Hair color, hair texture, skin color, skin texture, height, body structure, physique, everything. And a lot more, right? All of these are variations that we would find in the same species. Okay, now coming to the father of genetics, who we call him the father of genetics. He is none other than Gregor Johann Mendel. Yes, children? Okay, going ahead, what did Mendel do in his set of genetic experiments? As we know, Mendel was a monk, an Austrian monk, who was very, very interested in botany and mathematics, in gardening and mathematics. So his casual set of experiments have laid the foundation for what we know today as the principles of genetics. He chose the garden pea plant, which is botanically called Pisum sativum. Okay, and Pisum sativum, he chose these pairs of contrasting characters in them. As you can see, flower color, plant height, seed color, seed shape, pod color, pod shape, and flower position, and the different contrasting versions of each of them. For instance, as we've seen earlier, flower color, pea plant flowers could either be purple in color or white in color. They could be either tall or they could be short. Seeds could either be yellow in color or green in color, and so on. These are the different contrasting traits of each of these characters. Yes, he also wanted to become a teacher. Yes, Jay. But it's quite sad that Mendel is not with us today, because probably he would never have imagined that his name would become so big in the history of genetics. Okay. No, Avika, I think you are attending my session for the first time. Yes, Akash. Okay. So going ahead, he performed the monohybrid cross first. Right. Monohybrid cross, wherein he chose one character at a time, which is the first thing, or one that we learn for the example for the sake of easy understanding, is height, right? Tall and dwarf, right? So this is basically a cross that summarizes what Mendel did in his monohybrid experiments. And this is a Punnett square, as you can see, the box that we call the Punnett square, which helps us work out the gametic combinations in a logical and systematic manner. Okay. Yes, so he chose a pea plant for his own set of reasons, because it has a short lifespan, which means he could observe many generations in a very short span of time. Then they could be easily self-fertilized, they could also be cross-fertilized, and easily observable pairs of contrasting characters could be observed. Okay, all of these are major reasons why Mendel chose the garden pea plant. Okay, yes, and this is the F2 ratio that you can see if you worked out Mendel's monohybrid cross. Okay, in the F2 ratio, in the F2 generation, or the second filial generation, as you can see here, you would see the genotypic ratio to be 1 capital T, 1 capital T to 2 capital T, small t, to 1 small t, which is 1:2:1. And the phenotypic ratio would be what you externally see. These are all together tall, right? Which means 3 tall, and this one alone is a dwarf plant, which means 1 dwarf. Now, one more thing, children, keep in mind, these are only ratios, not the actual numbers. If we were to take the actual numbers, everything together, it is said that Mendel studied around 29,000 or 30,000 pea plants overall, just to come up to the principles of genetics we know today. Okay, so remember children, these ratios are very, very, very important. I would suggest do not memorize them. If you can quickly work this out, that would be the best, because we don't want any unnecessary confusion during the exam, right? Yes, Suchita, Ragini. Okay, now going on, he proposed two major laws based on the monohybrid experiments. What were they? One is, of course, the law of dominance, which states that characters are controlled by discrete units, which we call factors. That is another thing, children. The word factors, Mendel did not use the word allele or gene. Those terms were introduced much later. For allele and gene, Mendel used the word factor or factors as plural. Mendel found that factors occur in pairs and in a dissimilar pair of factors, which means he is talking about a heterozygous condition. One member of the pair dominates, which we call dominant. It dominates the other one, which is called recessive. Recessive is the one which gets suppressed. The allele for dwarfness in this case is what is the recessive allele. The allele for tallness is what is the allele for the dominance, the dominant trait, tallness. Okay. Yes. Going on, what is the second law? Law of segregation or law of purity of gametes. Yes. So this is again very important because Mendel's laws as such, children, are very, very important. It can come as part of your 5-mark question. Like 1 mark in your 5-mark section could be allotted to any of these laws. Okay. So 2 of these laws, Mendel's law 1 and 2, are based on the monohybrid cross, which is a law of dominance, and the law of segregation. Okay, law of segregation is also called law of purity of gametes, and this is what it states. When an egg and sperm join in fertilization, they form a new organism whose genotype consists of the alleles contained in the gametes. Why is it called purity of gametes? Because in one particular gamete, there would be only one allele or one of the 2 gene copies, which is why a gamete is said to be pure for an allele. As you can see here, these are the gametes in this case, right? In the gamete, you can see that in the gametes, you can very well see that there is just one allele. But what if it was a dihybrid cross? How would you write the gametes for a dihybrid cross? You would write one allele from each gene. Okay? Yes, the PDF will be available to you. Ram Lakhan. Okay. Yes, so keep in mind that also, children, you must know how to come up with the gamete, how to work out the gametic combinations. In a monohybrid is very simple, so that's all right. But dihybrid can be a little confusing. You must know how to come up with the gametic combinations in a dihybrid cross. Okay, yes. So that's about the second law. Coming to the next set of experiments, which is about Mendel's dihybrid cross. Okay. Yes, so this is just an example that's here. He probably chose, we know he chose 2 characters at a time. We are considering these 2 for our sake of understanding, and these are the results that Mendel got. What was it? In the F2 generation, the phenotypic ratio was seen to be 9:3:3:1. The genotypic ratio in F2 generation is a little more complex, and because of that, I haven't seen any ICSE paper which has asked the F2 genotypic ratio, but in case it's asked, you must know. Okay, it's 1:2:1:2:4:2:1:1. Work it out. Each of these the genetic combinations, just write it down and see how many times they are appearing. That is the ratio that you would get. Okay. Yes, so this is Mendel's dihybrid cross, based on which he proposed one more law that we call today as the law of independent assortment. And according to this, the alleles of 2 or more different genes, because we are talking about 2 genes at a time, inheritance of 2 genes at a time, they get sorted into gametes independently of one another. For instance, in brackets, I've given you the simpler version of this law. The allele that a gamete would receive for one gene, okay, does not influence the allele it receives for another gene. What we mean is that just because a gamete contains the dominant version of one gene does not mean that the other one should also be dominant. It can also receive this. Like in this case, like in the F2 cross, if you see, look at this, all kinds of possibilities are there. Homozygous, heterozygous, everything. In the sense, gametes can contain different alleles of different genes, whether it's dominant or recessive. Okay. Very, very, very important concept, because I'm telling you this because these are things that I used to get confused about when I was in class 11, because when I was in school, this chapter was part of the class 11 syllabus, not in class 10. Okay, and then coming to test cross. This is the type of cross which we use to identify the genotype of a dominant phenotype. For instance, you have a tall plant and a dwarf plant. Dwarf plant, you know for sure, its genotype is going to be small t, no doubt. What about the dominant one? It can either be capital T, as you see here, or it can be capital T, small t. It can either be homozygous or it can be heterozygous. How do you find out? That is what you do in a test cross. You cross the tall parent with the recessive, the double recessive one, which is small t, and this is what you get. Based on the results that you get in each case, you can identify if the ratio, for instance, that you get in the progeny is, like in this case, all tall, you can infer that this tall parent was homozygous for tallness. Yes, all tall plants would be the progeny in this case. Whereas if it was a heterozygous genotype, in this case, it would be 50-50. Half of them would be tall, half of them would be dwarf. Okay, so based on this result, you can guess the genotype of the dominant parent. Okay. Yes, 1:1. Yes, Jai. Now moving ahead, children, we are well versed in Mendelian genetics now, so it's important to know what are autosomes, what are sex chromosomes. I've also explained this to you in yesterday's session, wherein we spoke about the structure of chromosomes. Now you can see this is the human male karyotype, something that represents all the chromosomes in a human male cell, and here a human female cell. You can observe that, okay, let me just move so that you can have a look at both of them together. The first 22 pairs, 1 to 22, okay, chromosomes 1 to 22 are similar in both. The difference comes only in the sex chromosomes, which is the 23rd pair. In a human female, that would also be very similar. It would be 2 X chromosomes, whereas in a human male cell, it would be 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. Okay, this difference is very, very important to know. And coming to the concept of sex determination. Yes, we all know this by now. I'm sure all of you know this for sure. How is the sex of a baby determined? It's determined at the time of fertilization. An egg, for instance, is always destined to become a female baby. Okay, so this is an egg. An egg always carries only an X chromosome because a female does not have a Y chromosome, right? Yes, depending on whether an X carrying sperm or a Y carrying sperm fertilizes it, the result would be determined. Exactly. If a Y carrying sperm fertilizes the egg, it becomes a male baby, and if an X carrying sperm fertilizes it, it becomes a female baby. Okay, children? Yes. Extremely important concept. And then comes sex-linked inheritance, which is the inheritance of a trait by an allele on the X chromosome or the Y chromosome. No, we are not talking about autosomes. We are only talking about the genes present on the 23rd pair of chromosomes, which are the sex chromosomes. The most common examples we learn in ICSE class 10 are hemophilia and color blindness. Okay. Yes, okay. Hemophilia and color blindness. And then the pedigree analysis thing, as you know, it's a chart in your textbook also, it's there. It's a chart that displays a family tree. It shows the members of a family who are affected by a particular genetic trait. This is just an example of a pedigree chart. Okay, and there are symbols that we use for a pedigree, I'm sorry, a pedigree chart also, which are these. Okay, all of these, you don't need to know everything in detail, but you must know at least the basic ones, like what is male, what is female, what does mating, does line indicate? It indicates mating. And then the children, the progeny, parents and children in order of birth. Twins and all of that is not very important as far as 10th standard level is concerned. I'm just telling you the main symbols that you must know. And affected individuals would be completely shaded. Carrier individuals may be half shaded in certain cases. They may be completely unshaded also. Okay. Yes. And going on to the features of X-linked inheritance, X-linked recessive inheritance. We know it follows a crisscross pattern of inheritance. Yes, children, crisscross pattern in the sense it's always transmitted from father to daughter or mother to son. Okay, and this is the second feature of it. It tends to skip generations in the sense it is normally visibly seen or phenotypically seen in alternate generations, grandparent and grandchild. And then, very importantly, men are either normal or affected. They cannot be carriers because men have only one X chromosome. Okay, whereas females can either be affected, normal or carriers in the case of X-linked recessive inheritance, examples for which are hemophilia and color blindness. Okay, yes, and yes, children, we are coming towards the end of the summary that we have done. So before starting the quiz, as you know, your ICSE board exams are coming very close. Just like our previous year's toppers, you can certainly achieve it. You can certainly be there if you just focused on everything, on your studies in the next 45 days until your exams are done. All of us are here for your support, and you know that our fast track series are running right for all the 4 major subjects: physics, chemistry, bio and math. To do make use of them, and of course make use of our micro courses also. And here is an offer for you. You can buy 2 micro courses at flat 11 rupees. Okay, this is the coupon code that you can use. What do you have to do? How do you have to go about it? The micro course sections link is provided in the description box below. Just hit it, provide this coupon code, and there we go. Pick up 2 micro courses for which you think your concepts will be cleared, for your toughest concepts. Okay. Yes, Varshit. I can and I will, Nikita says. Very good, Nikita. So glad to hear that. And let's now get started with the quiz. Okay. All right. Very, very simple. Let's go very fast first. I have not given any multiple choice today. Okay. The number of chromosomes present in a nerve cell of a human being. Yes, who's going to give me the answer? Anushka says 23, Narendra says 46, and 246, Nikita says 46, 46, 0, somebody says 0, seriously? Okay, and your nerve cells don't have any chromosomes, is it? Okay, and there we go. The answer is 46. So the word nerve cell is just there to confuse you. Any cell of your body, apart from your sperms and eggs, would carry 46 chromosomes. Okay, children, keep that in mind. Next one, the condition in which a pair of chromosomes carry similar alleles of a particular character. What do you call that? Amazing fun and English, tell me the answer. Homologous, okay. Homologous, seriously? I can't believe all of you are saying the same thing. Bhavita says homozygous. I told you at the start, children, homologous is different. Homozygous is different. What is the answer here? We are talking about homozygous. What is homologous? Homologous is a term that we use to refer to the similar in shape and size chromosomes. A pair of homologous chromosomes, but the genetic condition that we are talking about here is homozygous. Yes, Narendra, you said it first, is it? Okay. If you have these kinds of spelling mistakes, Anandita, you will get 0 marks because it's a completely different term. Okay, if I was the examiner, I would certainly give you 0 marks for that. Okay, next one, the suppressed allele of a gene. Yes, children. Suppressed allele of a gene. Recessive. Vinod has given me the answer first. Bhavita, Narendra, Harsh, all of you say it's recessive. Yes, recessive is absolutely the correct answer. Now, physical expression of genes in an individual. Physical expression of genes in an individual. Anto has given me the answer first, and then Vinod, phenotype. Very good, very good. It's just scrolling up very fast, so do not feel bad if I'm not picking out every name. I have seen most of you have given me the answer as phenotype. Absolutely correct. Yes. Oh, sorry, it's my mistake here. It should have been phenotype. Okay, so let me just strike it off there. Physical expression is phenotype. Okay. Yes. Moving on. Find out the progeny of a marriage between a colorblind man and a carrier woman. Okay. A colorblind man and a carrier woman. How do you work this out? Okay, let's look at it. A colorblind man, what do you think his genotype would be? We must do this very fast. Colorblind man's genotype would be XCY. Okay, because the color blindness allele is present on the X chromosome. Okay, that is the colorblind man. The carrier woman, she has two X chromosomes, right? Because she is carrier, she is carrying it only on one of her X chromosomes. So this will be her genotype. Okay, now coming to the combinations, let's work it out in a Punnett square. This is XC. We are writing the man's gametes here, the woman's gametes here. What would be the combinations? XC, XC, XCY, XCX, and XY. Yes. So what are the progeny? It's just saying find out the progeny. So in general, you must write what kinds of children they can have and in what proportions. Okay. As you can see, how many are colorblind? 50% of the children are colorblind, wherein partly it's female and partly it's male. 50% of girls, if you think about it in girls and boys, daughters and sons. Yes, daughters and sons. Now, Rebel, Raza, you can go back to our older videos on genetics where all of these concepts are discussed very, very well in detail. Okay. Yeah. So, among the daughters, okay, daughters first. 50% are carriers and 50% are affected. Yes, this is about the daughters. What about the sons? Among the sons, 50% would be normal and 50% would be, what is this? Is this colorblind or is this carrier? Tell me quickly. Is this colorblind or is this carrier? XCY. Colorblind. Somebody says carrier also. As I told you, men cannot be carriers in the case of X-linked recessive traits because they have only one X chromosome. Okay, they can only be either normal or affected. So considering that 50% of the sons are normal and 50% are colorblind or affected. Okay. Yes. So there we go. That is giving you the answer to finding out the progeny between the colorblind man and carrier woman. Okay, children? All right. Now moving on. Let's look at a slightly, this will be our last question, but this is a 5-marker, so it may take us a little more time than the others. Okay. A pea plant. Now, this is the type of questions that you can expect. What I'm showing you right now, this type normally comes in section B. Okay. Now, as you can see, this was asked in the 2018 exam also. A pea plant which is homozygous for green pods which are inflated and the genotype is given to you within brackets is crossed with a homozygous plant for yellow pods which are constricted. The genotype is again given to you. Answer the following questions. You have 5 questions to answer. Here I have given you the first one. Give the phenotype and genotype of the F1 generation. Yes. What would be the phenotype and genotype of the F1 generation? The cross is between These are the parents. Okay, let me write P generation. These are the parents. What would the F1 generation be? It would be capital G, small g, capital I, small I. Right? All the F1 progeny would be heterozygous. Yes, Anandita. Absolutely. We are talking about F1. Okay, F1 generation, not F2. This is the genotype. Phenotypically, what would they be? Phenotypically, they would have green pods and inflated pods. So green, inflated, the dominant traits. How did I find that out? It would be the same traits that the dominant parent is showing. Yes, exactly. No, 9:3:3:1 is not the F1 ratio. Which type of pollination has occurred to produce this? Which type of pollination has occurred to produce F1 generation? Cross-pollination. Very good, Harsh. It's not self-pollination. The two parents are different, right? From that itself, it's very obvious. It's not the same plant or the same kind of plant. It is two different plants. One with a dominant phenotype, one with a recessive phenotype. Yes. Okay. So that is our answer to question number 1. Moving on to the next one. Write the phenotypic ratio of the F2 generation. Somebody gave me the answer to this question in the previous one. Yes, children? Okay. Bhavita says the answer first this time. 9:3:3:1. Okay, that is the phenotypic ratio for the F2 generation. Those of you who are not clear with that, please sit down with paper and pen, work it out and see what you're getting. Okay, you must get the ratio as 9:3:3:1. Okay, third one. Write the possible combinations of the gametes which can be obtained if two F1 hybrid plants are crossed. Okay. Possible combinations of gametes. Two F1 hybrid plants are crossed. So who are the parents here? F1 we have seen are these, right? So in this case, this is one parent and this is the other parent. Okay. When these are crossed, what are the types of gametes you would get? Yes, this is what I was telling you, children. You must be very careful while working out the gametic combinations in a dihybrid cross. Gametic combinations. Yes, Anushka says capital G, capital I. Okay, very good. Gametic combination. No, Jai, it will be a very bad idea to skip this chapter. Very, very bad idea to skip this chapter. It carries a lot of weightage. Is it only capital G, capital I? Albin says small g, small I. Very good. What else? Nikita says capital G, small I. And I'm looking for one more. The last one. Yes. I think it was Anto. I'm sorry, I did not read the name. I think Anto said the answer as small g, small I. So how do you work this out? You need, in a gamete, you would have only one allele of each gene. Okay, you have a G and an I. It would be only one alphabet representing either a capital G or a small g and either a capital I or a small I. But at least one G and one I should be there in a gamete. Okay. Yes, it is a difficult chapter, Jai, but as I said, if you understand it logically, it is very, very simple. Okay. As long as you have a love for bio and logic together, this chapter will be very, very, very easy and you will have a lot of fun working out chapters, working out problems or questions in this chapter. Okay. Now, next one. State Mendel's law of segregation of gametes. Yes, we are nearing the end of this question. State Mendel's law of segregation of gametes. Okay. Let's see, what do you write for such a question? This is what you can write when law of segregation is asked. Only one of the two gene copies present in an organism is distributed to each gamete. Okay, and the allocation of gene copies is random. Okay, either the capital, if an organism has a capital T, small t as the genotype, when the gametes are formed, one capital T randomly enters a gamete, the small t randomly enters another gamete. Okay, it's just random, no hard and fast rules there. And when an egg and sperm join in fertilization, they form a new organism whose genotype consists of the alleles contained in the gametes. Okay, yes, absolutely. Now, that is about Mendel's law of segregation of gametes. And coming to the very, very last question, what is scientific name of the plant? What is the scientific name of the plant that Mendel chose for his experiments on inheritance? Yes, Anto, Kanak, Bhavita, all of you are saying the answer is Pisum sativum. Okay, whenever you write a botanical name, when you write it handwritten, make sure you underline the genus name and the species name separately. When it's in printed font, it can just be italicized. Okay, and the first letter of the genus name, first letter of the genus name would be in caps. The first letter of the species name should be a small letter. These rules are very important. Okay, all right. And there we go, we come to the end of the one-shot revision of the very, very important chapter, genetics. Children, okay. And one more thing for you, children, this is like great news which we wanted to share. All our success stories, like Vedantu has been doing a lot for children, and children have been, all of you children, the student community has been cooperating with us so well. So yes, this is just to give you an idea about all the incredible results that we have got in CBSE 12th, CBSE 10th, ICSE 10th and the KVPY scholarship and PRMO. Okay, so great job, congratulations to all of them, and do be inspired by everyone who has been doing well. We are always here to support you. And children, for ICSE children out there, do have a look at the ICSE class 10 complete biology playlist, especially genetics. I understand, because in one shot, in one session, it's not possible to complete the entire chapter in detail. So do go back, find out where this chapter is and have a look at all the videos. Okay, because like Jai, like you were asking, it's not a good idea to skip this chapter. Definitely make sure you are pakka with this chapter. Okay, we will be going with plant physiology tomorrow. Okay, yes, and here is the playlist for the diagram series, again for the diagram based questions, and here is the playlist for the fast track series for all the 4 ICSE subjects, the major subjects, and Students Corner, of course, because it's exam time and you will be in need of motivation when you are feeling a little low or a little less motivated. Please have a look at the Students Corner videos also. And if you have enjoyed this video, children, do remember to hit the like button right now. And as far as sharing is concerned, sharing is always caring. So with all your ICSE class 10 friends, please do share this, because they will also find this very, very useful, because last minute preparation, right, absolutely helps in improving your confidence. And do subscribe to the channel Vedantu 9 and 10 if you haven't done that yet, because until your exams are done, we are always here to give you amazing content and keep giving you support. In the meantime, do remember to send me an email also for any query that you have at ambika.gopalakrishnan@vedantu.com. Okay, children. So until we meet again tomorrow, I hope to see you again at the same time, 12 p.m. Okay. So do attend, yes, live tomorrow also, as I said, the first plant physiology chapter. Okay. So until we meet again, happy studying, all the best, stay motivated, and bye-bye.